Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video I'm going to talk about the TarkovTV Podcast number 3, featuring Nikita himself, the COO of Battlestate Games, FairTX hosting and running the podcast, FortyOne, a Escape from Tarkov and GTA RP streamer, and then myself was also featured on this podcast. I'm going to cover all the points in summary to help it so you don't have to watch a 2.5 hour podcast and answer all the major questions and just bring up all the major points. So guys, without further ado, let's crack straight into it. So Nikita brought up what's actually going on currently at Battlestate Games and saying that they're currently working on a patch/hotfix, which is going to be the last major patch before patch 0.12. This patch is going to be the last one also on the Unity 5.6 engine before they move over to 2018. This patch is primarily aimed at fixing freezes and stutters and also making the game run smoother overall. After that, we will be getting patch 0.12. The current date on that is unknown, but it's definitely not within the next month. Within the next month, he's going to release more information about the actual patch itself, what's included, as well as there's going to be another TarkovTV podcast in Russian, which will have a lot more features and new information about actual patch 0.12. And the primarily focused this podcast on patch 11.7, the current state of the game, and what's actually going on. Whilst I'm here, I'll cover some of the major points that were brought up by patch 0.12, or for patch 0.12, being the Unity 2018, which is more modern and powerful and has a lot more tools for them to be able to fix the freezes, stutters, and all the issues in the game, and hopefully make us have a better game overall. They're also going to be bringing out the hideout, which there's going to be a lot more information coming out in that Russian podcast, and there's going to be customization for the clothing also coming in patch 0.12. The next topic brought up was the leg meta. Now with the leg meta, Nikita acknowledged the point that there is an actual flaw in the system and the scavs were aiming too low. The raiders had the right point of aim, but the scavs were aiming too low on the hitbox and wasn't actually aiming at the center of scene mass, they were aiming at about the crutch. So because of this, with the spread of shots, the majority of them were hitting low, aiming at the legs and causing leg damage. Now, he knows that actually they deliberately made it so certain NPCs and scavs would actually be aiming at the legs, say snipers, so that they wouldn't just instantly one-tap you in the chest. But the actual scavs themselves were meant to be aiming at the chest, but it was just a flaw in the actual aim registry. So this is going to be changed, but what this does actually mean is you're probably going to die faster. At least previously, when you were getting shot at by a scav, they might hit you at a leg, particularly at distance, and the issue with that was you'd get legged and you wouldn't be able to move. Now what's going to actually happen is you're going to get hit in the chest and you're going to die. So you're probably going to require taking in at least a Packer or a UN armor to help prevent taking those instant shots to the chest and dying. Nikita next talk about some of the new maps, particularly the Lighthouse, starting off the Lighthouse. There's going to be a sniper scav located on Lighthouse. I don't know if it's going to be in the Lighthouse, I'd imagine so. And it's going to be aiming first at the legs, then once it takes out the legs, it'll go for arms, and then the chest. And that's going to be an actual feature of the actual scav boss, where he's going to deliberately try and immobilize you first before killing you. Now the Lighthouse map will be after patch 0.12 because the next map for 0.12 is actually going to be the military base, and I have the pictures rolling above for the military base. This base is actually located between customs and shoreline, and it's got lots of different levels of buildings, it's got dungeons, it's got everything. It was previously a war between the USEC and Bears took place here, and this is an actual like damaged building area, and it looks really cool as you can see from the images. There's going to be an AGS-30. I'm pretty sure he said 13 during the actual podcast, but an AGS-30 which is an automatic grenade launcher. There's going to be SPG-9 rockets, which will do damage to walls and fragment apparently. There's also going to be an 18mm mortar and also a quad 12.7 50 cal machine gun, which I asked if it's going to be able to penetrate through walls, and he said most probably, but we'll have to wait and see with that one as well. Each of these will spawn with different random amounts of ammunition, and you can actually find ammunition within the map to take it to these points to use them, or you can bring ammunition in with you. He also brought up the point that they want to make it so you can actually move these stationary weapons, but this won't be implemented for patch 0.12. But he made the point that you'd be able to pick up the AGL and leave the map with it, so that you could set it up somewhere else in a different map. The The next major point was the anti-cheat. They're constantly working on banning people that are cheating in Escape from Tarkov. They've got currently a Reddit thread where you can post your clips and videos. I don't know exactly where that is, but I imagine go to the Escape from Tarkov Reddit page. I'll put that link down below at least so you can try and find it from there, because that's where the thread was brought up. But they said they ban up to 100 people a day that are cheating. As well as that, they've actually started implementing IP and hardware bans. That was very recent. He said just recently he banned 150 people that were using a cheat that was unknown before, and that's like a new high-tech kind of cheat. So hopefully, with the way they're moving, the people that are cheating are actually going to get stopped faster, and so the game can be enjoyed more. Because the major point that I brought up is, as a player, like I've got the opportunity to play the game a lot, and if I have a couple of raids where I die to someone who's cheating or lag or whatever, I can get past it because I've got more time to play. But the guys that only get to play the game a couple of hours a day or a week, and they go into like 2 or 3 raids and they just die to either desync, lag, or someone cheating, it's really deterring people from playing the game. And he acknowledges this, and that's why the anti-cheat and the cheat prevention is such a high priority. They've also started banning a lot of the bots that are manipulating the flea market. So previously, there'd be, if an item was up on the sale on the flea market for a certain price, if it went under that certain price, a bot would automatically buy these items so they could resell them at a higher price. So they've actually started banning those bots as well, which is targeting people that are selling these items on third-party websites for real-life money, which also promotes people cheating more, because then they can cheat to sell these items on these websites, and it's a vicious cycle. So cracking down on these cheaters is actually a really important thing, because it actually prevents the inflation of cheating people in the game. Now, we got to see the first of the gun modding presets. This actually looks totally sick. So you pretty much go, any item that you've found and it's in your handbook, you can actually select on a predetermined modding screen, which I'll be playing the video above so you can see it. But you can actually select all the mods that you want to have, and then you can buy them all in the one click. And then you can save that preset. From that point onwards, you can buy guns already filled out however you want them, over and over again in the masses. So it's going to reduce time in lobbies, which is going to be amazing. So speaking of guns, there's heaps of new guns coming. In patch 0.12, there is the P90 and the M9A3 pistol. There's also the Ash 12, which is a 50 cal assault rifle designed for special forces, which is allowed with massive recoil. Now, he said it's going to have 100 damage with 20 pen. And this is going to be a massive, massive round. And it's going to do a lot of damage. So I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, but it's going to be devastating. They're also going to be adding their first revolver rifle or gun. It's going to be the 20 gauge shotgun. It's going to have a revolver loading mechanism, which is going to be very interesting in itself. And they want to add as many guns as possible, covering all the calibers, all the popular and interesting ones. However, it's going to take time. So the double barrel shotgun will be in the game after patch 0.12, and same with the sawn-off shotgun. Now, when it comes to quests, with the current quests in the game, they are actually placeholders that are going to be the side quests for when the main storyline is implemented. And that's going to be probably after 0.12, and it's going to be a fairly in-depth storyline where you're actually going to learn a lot more about the lore of Tarkov and everything that's going on. And the current quests we are doing are going to be more to do on the side. I did bring up a fair few points here. One of them being, if a quest is, say, like Bad Habit, that doesn't have any follow-on quests, it's okay to take time to complete that quest, because yeah, it might take ages to find the cigarettes, but it doesn't lead to anything. But quests like Health Level 7 has a full quest line behind it, and the fact that that quest line is behind it, and the grinding of getting health to level 7 takes forever, it makes it really difficult to ever get to those further quests. And I said quests like that need to be put on its own story, on its own quest path, where they might have some cool unlocks involved in it, but it doesn't lock the progression of a player, because something like that is just annoying and not enjoyable at all. I brought up the point also with the Kappa Container quest, the Ancient Book, which is like a diary. I think it's got some Harry Potter references on it. Is currently only found on the Mark Circle, and I know people have farmed 200 runs to get it. He's actually added that to Scavs, and it's going to be in the Scav backpacks of heavy Scavs. This brought up the point that there are different types of Scavs in the game, And the later you are in a raid, the higher level of scav that will start spawning. And so those later raid scavs will actually be the ones that will have the ancient book in the backpack. There was also the point brought up here where you could actually pay traders to level up skills and train up skills and bypass some of the quest grinding for, say, like health level 7. Nikita acknowledged this and he's going to look into ideas behind it. And that was pretty much every point that was covered with the quest in itself at the moment. Next, we covered healing. There is a new healing that's coming to the game where you actually get to pull out a bullet in the animation. And this is going to heal blacked out limbs, but it will have a penalty and it will take, say, 20-30 seconds. The penalty is going to be quite severe. Might be something along the lines of half the amount of health available on that limb. So, for example, if, say, a leg has 70 or 65, I can't remember exactly, it'll come back as, like, say, 30 or 33 or something like that. Making it so you can do these heals. It'll be a lengthy heal, but it will make it so you can at least walk again or run again without having to rely on painkillers for an entire raid. I spoke about the option of making it so you can continuously heal, because at the moment with when you heal, the game puts away the med kit and then brings it back out and you do it over and over and over again. I said, could we just make it so it's one press and you can hold it and continually heal? He said that he wants it so you should be healing by priority of limb or where you want to heal first. And so I said, well, maybe if you want to make it so there's a penalty to healing continuously, that in between healing each limb, have a few seconds, and that way you can balance it out by people can heal one at a time, or they can do continuously, but you'll have a slight penalty for it. I just think it's really silly to have that heal animation where you're opening the zip over and over again, and it's quite annoying, really. They are going to make a out of raid healing, which is going to be a requirement after raids. And this is going to be with the hideout. There's not a lot of information with this, but the intention is to actually slow down the rate of hatchet runners. I don't actually know how that was going to work, because if you run into a raid, you die instantly, and then you've got to heal out of it. It's just going to be really penalty. Like, it's going to be a penalty because the hatchet runner can still get items to pay for that heals anyway. So I'm not really sure how it's going to work, but I'm interested in seeing. Now, a lot of the next few points that they're going to be very, very simple things. I'm just going to bring up what they are and what the result was. Vaulting, it's going to be there's going to be climbing that's going to be implemented after patch 0.12. Offline co-op planned, but easily hacked by Nikita's. Nikita thinks it's going to be easily hacked and giving people opportunity to exploit the game. He's looking at ways of implementing it, so there's specific servers for offline co-op, and then that way you play on those ones, which is part of the game and controlled by Battlestate Games, as well as there's going to be a way to get your clan or faction up to a certain level once that's implemented into the game, and you'll get your own practice areas for your clan or faction. Binoculars, compass, and rangefinders, they do and plan to implement these into the game in the future. However, it's going to take some time. He wants it to look really good and not clunky or just have some little HUD thing at the top. He did bring up the idea that he wants to have it so you've got a permanent little compass that just says north, south, east, west on your arm, like a wristband, but because of the changes to customization with patch 0.12, he needs to figure out where the polygons are going to fit. Door animations that's coming after 0.12, which is like the slow open, frag and clear, flash and clear, and lock picking. DLCs for the future, there's going to be hot and cold weather affected, and that's going to be after the release, obviously. No customization of facial hair at this stage. I brought up the point of the Ghillie Suit, making it that if you could wear a Ghillie Suit, could it be so it's that you can't wear armor, it takes up your armor slot, but you actually get to wear something that will cover most of your body and you can hide in a bush, and so it's not just OP like a fully geared juggernaut lying in the bush wearing a Ghillie Suit. He did say that there is going to be Ghillie Suits coming, but it's just we don't know much more past that. The point of budget runs are getting was brought up, and there's plans in the future to implement ways to slow down the ability to do budget runs by either making it so you start raids in a different manner. So I'm unsure where that's going to go. We'll have to wait and see. Steam audio is planned for patch 0.12. However, he can't really release much more information about it because it's a lower priority, seeing that the getting on top of the cheater issue at the moment is the highest priority. And whilst the audio isn't perfect at the moment, it's good enough for now until the Steam audio is ready to get put into the game. There's a second Tarkov book being released, which is in Russian. That is getting translated to English at the moment. The Raid series, there's a second episode coming out soon. He said it's much more brutal, it's really epic, and he's looking forward to putting that out to you guys. Currently, there's a bug in Interchange with the Scavs spawning unlimited into a certain area and being able to, like, you can pretty much just farm them for wave defense. He acknowledges that, and it's going to be fixed. The Mosin, chats for some reason kept spamming me to ask about the Mosin. I do believe that the game has changed very drastically since the Mosin's been added to the game. I don't believe that the Mosin is in a position where it shouldn't do any less damage than what it is. I think the Mosin should kill in one shot, particularly to most armors or to the that are, say, mid-tier or lower, to the chest. I do agree with that. I also agree that pretty much nothing should stop a headshot from a Mosin round. I believe that it needs to be balancing in the way of ammunition or availability, and we all agreed on that. And I think probably the way that it might end up going is increasing the price of the ammunition. So I think that's probably where it's going to go. And it's going back into that whole the budget run, risk versus reward kind of thing. Now, they did bring up the point of Scavs targeting certain players, ones with lower karma or who level too fast. I don't really know where that's going to go. I don't think people should be penalized for leveling faster than other people. But definitely the karma thing should definitely be in play. Other stuff that's coming after patch 0.12 is being able to look around whilst reloading. The whole reloading animation is going to take ages to go through every single magazine that's in the game and having an individual animation for each of them. And I said, for a placeholder, could we just leave the inventory bit so we can at least look around whilst reloading, but obviously not be able to move around and stuff. And so that might be in the works as a placeholder in the meantime. There's going to be more smokes coming after patch 0.12. They're going to be able to combine the meds, like say if you've got 2 half meds, combination of that might happen for patch 0.12 or probably after. The second last point, which I spoke about earlier, was when is patch 0.12 coming out. He said it's not going to be anytime soon. It's definitely not in the next month, but it might be, a few months after that. More information will be out within the next month though, because the Russian podcast will happen and they're going to release more information. And as soon as they do know more, they will release that information. Now, the last point that was brought up, which I know a lot of people are really interested about, is merch. They're currently in negotiations with the company to do their whole merch range, and it's going to be available worldwide, and it's almost done. So that's something to get excited about. I'll probably buy a few jumpers and a hoodie and some patches, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. So guys, I've tried to belt feed this out as quickly as possible. There's a lot of information here. If you guys want to pop into my stream and talk to me about anything that was covered in the podcast, feel free to go down that link below. Also, make sure you do check out FortyOne, another Escape from Tarkov streamer. Also does GTA roleplay, massive followings, one of the fastest growing people on Twitch at the moment. FairTX has a really well-established YouTube channel. I'll put that down in the link below. He does some really well put together edited videos, which are definitely worth it checking out also. So guys, I'm going to leave this here. Thanks for watching another video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I stream on Twitch every single day of the week, so go down the link below. Give me a follow there. If you got any Tarkov questions, feel free to hit me up in my live stream or down in the comments below. And lastly, I'll see you next time. Oh, when the scavs come marching in. Oh, when the scavs come marching in. I don't want to be in that raid. Oh, when the scavs come marching in.